I had every obstacle in the world. I dreamed of nothing but aviation and being a part of it one way or another. And I got in my first ride, and I got airsick. And I tell you, it was the worst feeling I've ever had. And it was destroying me to think that I wasn't going to be able to do what I so badly wished to do. And so I decided, I'm going to overcome this. I don't care what happens. Well, I didn't overcome it very quickly, but when I did solo, I was concentrating on doing everything right to such an extent that I noticed I wasn't as uncomfortable as I had been when somebody was with me, because I was mentally thinking about what I had to do. And I conquered just flying, but then if you'd make an abrupt turn or anything, I'd get uncomfortable again. And so then I kept challenging myself. I'm going to keep doing everything that gets me upset, stomach-wise. I want to keep doing it until I can conquer it. And so I kept doing chandelles like this and steep. And I kept doing this because it made me uncomfortable. And I finally thought, I got up to here and I wasn't having too much trouble. So then I decided I'll go a little further. And the first thing you know, I went all the way around and did a loop. And I did dozens of those over the months and conquered that. And then I became accomplished with doing rolls, precision-wise. And I taught myself 4, 8, and 16-point rolls. And we had no instructors that knew anything about it. Aerobatic, so that was the reason I was forced to teach myself if I wanted to do it. But the interesting part of it was that when I went to flight training, the instructor didn't know that I had any flying time, and so he gave me an orientation flight and flew me around the countryside of this airport, and he finished up his flying. He said, "Would you like to see a roll?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he did a roll, and he dished out of it, and he said, "Would you like to try one?" And I said, right on the point like this, and he said, "Wow, where did you learn how to do that?" And I said, "Well, I taught myself." And he said, "Well, what else can you do?" And I said, "Well, I'll be happy to show you. I can do a 4 and 8-point roll." He said, "Well, what is that?" And so I did it. And he was shaking his head, and he said, "What else can you do?" I said, "Well, I can do Emmelmans and loops and whatever you want, snap rolls." And he said, "I can't believe it." And I said, "Well, I've worked hard at it." And we got on the ground. He went into the commandant's office and he said, "I've got a problem with one of my students." The commandant said, "Well, just wash him out." He said, "You don't understand, sir." He said, "He can fly better than I can or any instructor we've got here on the airfield." And then the commandant said, "Well, what do you suggest we do?" And he said, "Well, I would suggest that you let each of the instructors give him a check ride and let him show them how to do all of these things." And so that's what I did going through primary flying training. And it was just nothing for the whole thing. That was okay. But then when I got to basics flight training, that was instruments. And I thought I'd hit my Waterloo. I thought I would never be able to continue my flying career because everything was by the seat of the pants. And when I went on instruments, I didn't want to believe what I was looking at. I was thinking about the feel, and overcoming that was another big obstacle, just like air sickness. And I fought it until I won, and once I got that behind me, the rest was very easy for me.
Aero-TV is brought to you by
The DFC-90 all-digital attitude-based autopilot delivers significant performance and safety improvements over previous generation systems. Its innovative flight envelope protection guards against autopilot-induced stalls, and the straight and level mode provides one-button recovery from unusual attitudes for an added measure of safety. Immensely popular within the cirrus community, the DFC-90 is now being made available for a growing list of aircraft including Piper Matrix and Mirage, Cessna 182s, and Beech Bonanzas and Barons. Fly with confidence. Fly with DFC-90.